Renowned international investment bank Morgan Stanley has projected India to become Asia's fastest growing in 2022-2023, contributing 28% and 22% to regional and global growth respectively. It is basing its projections on expected demand boosts by the young workforce, increasing business investments, and reforms adopted by the current government. It also projects increased domestic consumption and service exports. India is the sixth largest economy in the world in nominal terms and the third largest in purchasing power parity terms. It managed to grow by 9.2% in the fiscal year 2022, rising sharply from a 6.6% decline in the previous year, marred by a series of COVID-related lockdowns. The bank expects India to grow by 7%.
The recent strong run of data increases our confidence that India is well positioned to deliver domestic demand alpha, which will be particularly important as developed markets' growth weakness percolates into Asia's external demand. Lower corporate taxes, the production-linked incentive scheme in India as a potential beneficiary of supply chain diversification will catalyze and sustain domestic demand, especially in investment. The economy is set for its best run in over a decade as pent-up demand is being unleashed.
To attract investments, India cut corporate tax in 2019 and launched the unique production-linked incentive scheme that rewards companies manufacturing in India with a back-end payoff from the government. The more companies produce in India, the higher the gain. In the recent quarter, most large companies posted healthy profits and demonstrated strong balance sheets.
The Russian ambassador to the UN, Vassily Nebenzia, accused Ukraine of taking the world closer to a nuclear apocalypse. Speaking at the UN, he said that Kyiv's military has been shelling Zaporizhia atomic power plant in southern Ukraine, thus endangering everyone in Europe. Russian forces have been holding this plant since February 2022.
We have repeatedly warned our Western colleagues that, should they fail to talk sense into the Kyiv regime, it would take the most heinous and reckless steps, which would have consequences far beyond Ukraine.
Some optimistic Russian experts have warned that fallout from such an accident will affect the Ukrainian capital Kyiv, prominent cities like Kharkiv and Odessa, regions like Lugansk and Donetsk, and bordering countries like Moldova, Romania, and Bulgaria. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has suggested that the Russians fire artillery shells at this plant and labels these actions as a suicide attempt. The government of the United States of America supports Zelensky's accusation, arguing that the Russian invasion triggered the situation in Ukraine. However, most analysts call this conclusion nonsensical. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres beseeched both sides for restraint.
I ask that both sides cooperate and allow a mission of the IAEA to proceed.
Due to several factors, the number of Chinese students applying to study in the United States of America plummeted by over 50%. Because of domestic and international alternatives, Chinese student flow to the USA declined even before the COVID pandemic. Travel restrictions and heightened safety concerns during the pandemic accelerated the decline. In the first 6 calendar months of 2022, the U.S. foreign missions in China issued 31,055 student visas to Chinese nationals, down from 64,261 for the same period in 2019. This is seriously denting revenues for many colleges in the USA. Domestic demand for college education has been dropping in the USA, and international students from China and India covered a crucial financial gap by paying out of state tuition fees, usually 3 times more than domestic students. Institute of International Education's Open Doors, which tracks these numbers, says that China alone provided 35% of international students to the USA, netting $15.9 billion. If USA schools cannot find other international students, many colleges will crumble, as US federal funds to offset the COVID effect would not last forever. Surveys show that the temporary suspension of visa services at US consulates in China, the number of COVID deaths in the US, gun violence, anti-Asian racism, and deteriorating US-China relations impacted Chinese students' desire to study in that country. Further, former US President Donald Trump stopped all visas for graduate students and postgraduate researchers with ties to military-related entities. With that presidential order, many Chinese students became ineligible and looked for alternates in the United Kingdom, Hong Kong, and Singapore. India has since overtaken China as the top country sending students to USA universities, covering losses from declining China numbers.
If you like this content, please press the like button and share it with your family and friends. Please consider subscribing to this channel. It is free. Press the bell icon to receive notifications about new content.